the obliteration of time and distance has always been one of man's great obsessions. But like all obsessions, it has its limits. To give you an example, a man falling from a building reaches speeds in excess of 120 miles per hour. Now, this guy's problem isn't speed, it's trying to stop. You see, it's not enough to be fast. You've also got to be able to control it. Over 100 years ago, Tommy Todd, a California gold miner, was clocked at almost 90 miles per hour. Nobody is sure why he was going that fast. I've always liked to think that he was trying to beat some claim jumper. But whatever the reason, it was, at that time, the fastest speed ever recorded by man. And he did it on a pair of wooden snow skis. Since the 1880s, men and women in cars, boats, planes, and other motorized or mechanical vehicles have obsessively pushed speed records higher and higher. But if you want to go fast, faster than man has ever gone without the aid of a machine, you do what Tommy Todd did. You find some inaccessible mountain, preferably high, graded very steep. You strap on a pair of skis, and you go for it. That's what the sport of speed skiing is all about.
Let me get out of this thing.
Of course.
Hello. Now for the most important piece of equipment that a skier has in a place like this. Going incognito. You know, the average speed of a recreational snow skier is pretty much what I was doing up there, 10, 20, 25, 30 miles an hour. Today, you'll have the privilege of seeing a different breed of skier. The professional speed skier whose specialized equipment like this helmet here, who uses this kind of equipment, will hurtle himself down a near vertical slope and will reach speeds in excess of 100 miles per hour. Hello everybody, my name is David Soul, and this awesome place is Velocity Peak Basin, high in the beautiful Colorado Rockies, the site of today's 1983 Camel International Speed Skiing Championships.
At 13,000 feet, located in the middle of avalanche country, Velocity Peak, Colorado offers no cozy refuge from the elements. There are no roads, no ski lifts to get you here. If you're determined to come, you can come by helicopter, if you know somebody. You can come by snowcat, if you can find one available. Or you can walk. And yet they come. Competitors from all over the world. They come for what the peak offers. Speed. A chance to set the record. A chance to be world champion.
Franz, you and I have traveled the circuit together here the last few years. What is the major difference between this event and, say, the downhill, the professional downhill that I've watched you compete in?
Yeah, speed skiing, it's a thing, you know, there are less things you have to concentrate on. It's a straight hill down. Mm-hmm. You concentrate on things which you know throughout experience, which you get over the years. Because first time you're racing, you don't know what's going to happen. First time I came there and I heard about all through the media about speed skiing, and I thought, actually, this must be something nuts, you know, crazy. And then I entered the event, and I went the first time already 121 miles an hour. Mm-hmm. And I had no experience, and I looked up to the champions like McKinney at the time. I tried to copy them. That's why I didn't do better, because my body build is different, different angles, mm-hmm. Longer upper body, shorter legs. Mm-hmm. So you have to work out your personal style, and when you figure it out, I think that's the whole secret in it, to go fast.
How fast do you think it's possible to go on these skis?
Yeah, people first said you can't go over 200 k's, which is 124 miles an hour. And they said you can't go to Everest without oxygen. They have been proven different. So no higher mountains, but I think there are still higher altitudes and longer hills, and I would say it's in between 130 and 140 miles an hour.
Who is the speed skier? Well, to some, he's one brick short of a full load. Another opinion might be that he's got the sense of an ice cube. Personally, I would rather view competitive speed skiers as a diverse bunch, colorful and fascinating as the flags of the countries they represent. Their common bond is that they view their sport and their lives as a series of challenges, challenges to be met and overcome.
I got my first world record in 1974 at 118 miles an hour. And got my last world record last March at 125.7 miles an hour. I stayed in it because I wanted to go faster each time, because I enjoyed it, because it's a healthy thing to do. I have a very unique option this year. It has to be a very unique option for me not to go to Silverton, and what it is I'm on the summit climbing team of the first American expedition to climb Mount Everest without oxygen. I'm going to go to Mount Everest tomorrow, and I'll be gone for 3.5 months. I'll miss the major speed skiing competitions, but I'm looking forward to coming back in 1984 when the speeds are high, around 130 miles an hour, because I feel like that's my forte. The higher the speed, the better I do.
Incidentally, Steve is the first man to break the 200-kilometer barrier. And he took to the sport after a near-fatal rock climbing accident left him with a broken back and a lot of self-doubt about his abilities. To come back from a severe accident to compete again is certainly one of the great challenges to any competitive sportsman. Franz Weber, the fastest man ever on the slopes, cracked up at Les Arcs, France at 119 miles an hour. Since then, his times have been off. All it takes for Franz is a moment's hesitation, remembering, and he's lost. It's not just the psychological barrier that has to be overcome when you're pushing yourself to the limit, but also the physical elements. For that, you need Mother Nature to cooperate. And here at the North American Speed Skiing Trials at Arapahoe Base in Colorado, she didn't. Take it from Terry Watts. With the snow, poor visibility, and soft course, you can't expect to set records. You're just looking to survive.
Jesus, that course is tough.
She is on course. Coming down, approaching track.
Oop, she's down. She lost her boot and her ski. Hope she's all right.
Get in there.
Let me tell you that rubberized second skin that racers wear, so important in lessening wind resistance when you're upright, offers no protection whatsoever when you fall at speeds in excess of 100 miles per hour. That snow hurts and it burns. Ooh. But it looks like Marty's going to be okay. That's good. Mother Nature is capricious, subject to change without warning. She pays very little respect to man's aspirations or his protests. 3 weeks' hard work by the site crew was practically destroyed the other day by high winds, snow, and avalanches. It appeared that Velocity Peak was determined not to yield any new records. The site crew and competitors have pitched in to repack the course. Some people, gamblers at heart, begin to predict the unpredictable. Even my own son was caught up in the excitement of a possible new world record, right, Brendan? Brendan, wake up. Speeds have been up during the first run. The course is hardening and getting faster and faster with each racer. But this, too, presents a new danger. The faster you go, you see, the smaller your margin for error.
A real bad spill is Ryan Prescott. We hope you Everything's okay down there? Looks like he's doing all right.
Tell me a little bit about that phenomenon called fear. Men always have historically talked about fear in sort of a macho attitude, you know, like, oh, sure, I can take care of that, you know, no problem. Well, but how do you deal with it?
Well, I just...
Is there fear?
Well, yes, there is fear. And I, last year when I was asked that, I said, well, no, I haven't experienced any fear, because the only fear I experienced last year was, you know, before I ever raced, and I didn't know what it was. And so it was the fear of going into something that I had no prior knowledge of. And then my total, you know, experience with the race, there was no fear. But this year I did start experiencing fear in France. And how I dealt with it was I just accepted it. And I accepted that if I was afraid at the top of the course, I wouldn't run. But it seems that when you get into the, you know, the move of everything, you get up there and you want to go and the fear disappears. But I feel that, you know, if I feel a tremendous amount of fear and I'm up there, I won't go.
Have you ever gone that fast in a car?
No, never.
You want to?
I'd love to.
You would, huh?
Well, with the right person driving.
What a great way to spend a sunny Saturday afternoon. Basking in 60-degree temperatures with your pet yak, a hot dog, and a can of beer. Well, appearances are sometimes deceiving. You see, what this place has in common with other speed courses, the Brickyard at Indy or the bobsled run at Cortina, is that a person can get hurt just being there. Right, Chuck?
Yeah, well, I was at the top of the course. I think it's about 13,000 feet. There were a few small sloughs coming down, and everybody was sort of scrambling a little bit to get out of the way. Well,
by sloughs you mean
small avalanches.
Right.
Yeah, and a bigger one came down off the high cornice, and there were two people above me that yelled avalanche, and I took 2 steps to the side. It built up to about 4 to 6 inches and knocked me off my feet. And I had a 50-pound pack on my back full of camera gear and equipment, and I started to accelerate down the course, and I couldn't stop myself. A few people tried to run out onto the course and stop me, but they couldn't. And I accelerated, and I skied the whole course on my back.
I know you had a few tense moments coming down there, Chuck, but did you at least have the... Did they turn the clock on in the trap? I mean, did you get timed?
I heard that they did turn the clock on in the trap, and I got timed on my back at 22 miles an hour.
I was hoping you'd say you had the fastest time of the day.
I thought I might when I was sliding along, you know?
Okay.
I felt like my skis just exploded right off my boots, and I was just pitched forward, and that was the end of it. I just basically exploded. I was feeling really good going into the trap, and hitting a few of those rolls, you know, you kind of do a little wing-dang-doodle there. I just ejected right out of my skis.
Women competitors run the same course as the men. They are also challenged by the same resistance from the elements and must survive the same dangers if any one of them is to be a world champion. Though their numbers are small, only 8 women are competing here, the assault upon the record books launched by these 8 women is truly inspiring. Last month at Les Arcs in France, Marty Martin Kuntz of Telluride pushed the women's record to over 118 miles per hour. That was an increase of over 7 miles per hour over last year's mark. And now the women are closing in on the 200K barrier. Today, they're running only about 8 miles per hour behind the men.
She had a speed of 113.665.
You know, among all competitors, there is an unspoken kind of acceptance of the great risk involved in speed skiing. But there is also a shared feeling of deep concern among the competitors when one of their own wipes out. It is more than the human concern for a fallen friend. It is also the knowledge that what happened to Veronique could happen to any one of them. When Veronique went down, she had cleared the timing trap and was on the run out. Before she fell, her time of 114.597 miles per hour would have been good enough to win here last year. Kirsten Culver from Incline Village, Nevada, is ranked second in the world behind Marty. In last year's final here, Marty defeated her by a fraction of a second. That's it! She did it! For the first time ever, a woman skier has gone over 120 miles per hour.
Speed of 100.
This is Marty's run. Until moments ago, she held the title, the world's fastest woman. Now is her chance to prove that she still is. At Les Arcs in March, Stella Sylvester of Ketchum, Idaho, clocked 116.5 miles per hour, more than 5 miles an hour faster than the world record time. Stella held the record for exactly 1 day. In the last run, Marty came back to beat Stella. Her speed? Over 118 miles per hour. But there's no coming back today, in spite of the fact that for the first time ever, 2 women break the 120-mile-an-hour barrier. The difference between Kirsten, our winner, and Marty's second-place finish is only 0.2 of a mile per hour. Under normal conditions, the competitors are allowed 1 more run after a record. Unfortunately, normal conditions here are high winds, snow, and the constant threat of avalanche. Marty's chance to regain her #1 status is scheduled for tomorrow. The forecast? Normal conditions. The skiers know that today was a gift. Franz Weber knows this. He knows that there is a new women's record and a new women's champion. And he knows, too, that the conditions today are right for a new world's record for his gender. Since his fall in France, Weber's times have not been their best. Maybe that moment of hesitation is there. He knows that to stay king of the hill, he can't worry about the danger. He needs all his concentration in order to reach deep down inside himself and find the champion. Franz Weber, once again, has set the standard. The others know that to beat him, they're going to have to push harder than they ever have. The sights are set. 130 miles per hour. Terry Watts is rated second in the world and is Franz's #1 rival today. As in any other sport, there is a certain amount of strategy that accompanies speed skiing. The top 5 ranked competitors, as befits their ranking, are given preference as to when they want to race. Terry chose to wait until late in the competition and may have waited too long. The course is beginning to ice. Whoa, Terry! Well, he's lost it. Thrown right out of his track. Only his sheer physical strength saves him from disaster. The weather forecast for once was right. High winds and avalanche warnings do away with the last day of competition. But it doesn't matter. In all, 2 men and 5 women have already bettered the old records. The skiers got what they want. The spectators got what they came for. New world records. To stand until the year the racers return and break them.
The International Speed Skiing Championship has been a special presentation of the Recreation Network. Executive producer, Tom Tatum. Directed by Edward Lapel. Brought to you in part by the beautiful year-round Tamaron Resort in Durango, Colorado.